Hello everybody, it's Riff Raff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another Fail Tale as presented by the Dwarven Vault. So today's Fail Tale is once again something a little bit different. This has to do with a party who perhaps found out that fate can be cruel, or the universe likes to make jokes about us. I'm not really sure. What it really comes down to is bad rolling. Let's face it, when we have fail tales, most of the time, the key difference is somebody made a bad roll, a critical fail, a series of rolls that just don't quite make it, that lead to a series of events that are unfortunate, shall we say. And of course, well, these things happen today too, though in this particular case, it's not really about a bad critical roll. It's more about the roll that you got for the spell that you used. And you'll see what I mean. So in this particular tale, what happened was the group was out and had been in a major fight. As a part of this major fight, one of the key members of the party unfortunately took a ride on the pale horse and was no longer in the land of the living. Very unfortunate. So much so that the group was going to do everything they could to bring this character back. He had been a key character to keeping people alive, saving their butts all through this dungeon, and had been one of the key contributors, really made a big difference, so they wanted him back. And of course, that's the nice thing to do. Now, normally, we would look to resurrect somebody in one form or another, resurrection. Regrettably, the person who was now dead was the one who was capable of doing most of the resurrecting. And what little was left to the rest of the party, though apparently it was a pretty high-level party, had already been used up, burned up, whatever you want to call it, and was not available to help this person. So they had a cleric in the party, and they decided to do something that was risky, but it was better than leaving him to die forever. They decided to reincarnate him. There's nothing wrong with reincarnation, but the gods sometimes play jokes on us, and you come back sometimes as something you didn't particularly expect. There's a number of tales on that side. That in and of itself, though funny, would probably not make a fail tale unless there was some extenuating circumstances. In this particular case, yeah, that's kind of what happened. After they had brought this person forward, they had laid him out next to the fire and had sat around him as their priest went through the various rituals that were required for him to perform this reincarnation. Now, this was AD&D, so original game, if you will, and the steps and the length of time for performing a reincarnation, as you could see in the original source material, is not trivial. So he did all this. Everybody else hung around and waited for it to happen, whether or not the spell was going to be successful, and if so, how would he come back? Well, they figured the best thing to do was, as the spell was ending and the reincarnation was going to occur, would be to be behind him, and at least a little bit of ways behind him, because depending on how he came back, it could cause a problem. So they did that. They were cautious. Unfortunately, they weren't cautious enough. When the actual reincarnation spell was completed, he came back, and once again the gods smiled and laughed and said, "Aha!" and brought him back as a full adult red dragon. Now you say, well, that could be kind of cool, actually. I mean, once you figure out what you have to do to not only be a dragon, but to learn the magic so you could shrink yourself to a human and things like that. And all of that would have been fantastic. However, there was one small problem. Though they gave themselves that room, it just wasn't enough. And when he came back as an adult red dragon, the size of him extended from where his head had been laying close to the fire for the rest of the body to extend well behind him. And unfortunately, that encapsulated a good portion of the party, where he came back and smushed him into jelly. Needless to say, that didn't make the party particularly happy. They did get him back. He wasn't in the same form as before, and in the process, they had lost 3 more members of their party. And, well, okay. Best intentions didn't work out. Bad roll in the sense of the creature that it brought back, but not necessarily, it wasn't like a fumble or anything. It just happened to work out that way based on what happened in the reincarnation. Pretty funny result, actually. So, that's today's Fail Tale. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe, and come back and see us again real soon. In the meantime, remember, dwarves rock!